What's so exciting and important about a new definition of property? In this video, we'll explain that and also show how it points to a way of a new achievable definition of freedom. Consider an analogy. Fundamental to the study of physics is the understanding of energy. Energy exchanges and energy conversions. They are at the heart of virtually everything. Energy is the supreme subject of physics. In volitional science, and in a world-changing concept of freedom, as you will see, the supreme subject is property. Property is the concept that is at the core of all interactions between people and all of society. Let's see how that is so by looking at the definition of property from Merriam-Webster. The most common usage or definition that fits our discussion is something, anything really, that is owned or possessed. But that is not a big enough, inclusive enough definition. It also does not explain how property comes into being, how it is created, nor is it precise enough to make what is property easily identifiable. Volitional Science was founded on a new and more useful, all-inclusive definition of property that has great advantages. Property is individual man's life and all non-procreative derivatives of his life. There are three kinds of property that can easily be seen as derivatives of a person's life. 1. Primordial property, a man's life itself. Every person, including children, owns his or her own life. A person must own their own life before they can own anything else. And note that any kind of slavery is excluded from the outset. 2. Primary property. The first derivatives of a person's life are their thoughts, ideas, and actions. Ownership of one's actions is called liberty. Humans instinctively believe that ideas are property. Even small children understand this. Example: "Hey, that was my idea." That has now been confirmed by scientific studies as well. Of course, some ideas are incredibly valuable, while others may be less than worthless. 3. Secondary property. Tangible goods. These are what are typically and most usually thought of as property: tables, chairs, cash, buildings, etc. Note that all secondary property is always produced after the idea of it comes first, thus secondary in both creation and importance. With the understandings of the three kinds of property, it becomes easy to see that different people, depending on the circumstances of their lives, will focus their efforts on improving the amount and quality of different kinds of property. Valuation of property is completely subjective. In the poorest countries of the world, effort by people exerted all day long, too frequently, might only produce barely enough to maintain their primordial property, their lives, with no effort left over to create any extra secondary property, extra food, money, housing. With more favorable circumstances, particularly in our own more modern era, many people are able to spend much more time creating more secondary property, i.e., more money, nice homes, modern conveniences, investments, etc. However, when we understand that ideas are property because they too are the derivatives of a person's life, in fact, many would argue, the most important derivatives, we understand why other people prioritize their lives to increase their primary property. Think about the main focus for artists, scientists, academics, monks, even loving fathers and mothers. The ideas, feelings, self-esteem that these kinds of people are pursuing are predominantly in the realm of primary property. That's what brings them happiness. Very important thought. While each person is different in their preference as to exactly how they wish to live their own pursuit of happiness, all are equally valid pursuits. That leads us to another revolutionary precise definition. Freedom is a societal condition that exists when every individual has full, i.e. 100% control over his or her own property. Can you imagine a world where no one's life or health is harmed by anyone else, ever? A world where everyone's ideas are respected, even compensated when desired and when important, thus incentivizing creation. A world where stealing or fraudulent theft of property is non-existent. The exciting fact is, such a world is being built, slowly but surely. Consider this statement from the World Bank Group president: Over the last 25 years, more than 1 billion people have lifted themselves out of extreme poverty, and the global poverty rate is now lower than it has ever been in recorded history. This is one of the greatest human achievements of our time. In the same press release from 2018, the president points to the reason. Despite the tremendous progress in reducing extreme poverty, rates remain stubbornly high in low-income countries and those affected by conflict and political upheaval. Note that those are the countries, the places in the world where freedom is at its lowest, where property of all kinds is the least protected. Note that the progress in diminishing extreme poverty can be directly correlated to the progress in the protection of property. Well, that is very good news. The fact that we now have the technologies that are capable of destroying all civilization on Earth is proportionately alarming. We encourage you to learn more about Volitional Science, where Andrew J. Galambos solves the problem of incessant human conflict once and for all, and points the way to a peaceful, durable, and prosperous civilization. The first step and the basis for all else is a higher concept of human freedom. Learn more for free at Civilization in Crisis. Type http://bit.ly/fmarks3 into your browser address line, or click on the link in the text below.